Hey, this is Dwayne Huff with Influence Seminars, founder and CEO of Influence Seminars, and I'm attempting to go live on 2 different platforms and record this on QuickTime, so I'm pushing the system to the limit. But hey, listen, I want to go live today and talk about something that is talked about all the time and is really becoming a buzzword that not many people fully understand how to do, and even almost cliche, and that's, as you can see, how to create value. But not like you think. Here's what I mean. Have you ever tried to do anything for somebody, give something to somebody, offer something, create something, whether it was a prospect, a customer, a coworker, a boss, a family member, a friend, a spouse, a child, only to have them push it away, not accept it, completely reject it, or turn you down? If you've been there, you know how bad that feels. Anywhere on the spectrum from a little annoying and frustrating to complete just abandonment. It's like, what happened there? I knew that they would like this. I knew them. They just didn't receive it the way that I was expecting them to. So what happened? More importantly, how can you make sure that doesn't happen again? How can you get it right the first time and 90% or more of the time? Before I jump in here, though, real quick, if you would like some help teaching your employees, your staff, how to create aligned value for your customers, for each other, for the company, reach out to me. Go to influenceseminars.com, schedule a free training session. We can do an 1 to 2 hour training session. If you're here in the area, in the Baton Rouge, New Orleans, or Lafayette area, I'll come out to your business. We'll do it live, no obligation, my way of serving. Or if you're not here, we can do it live and virtually. So let's talk about how to create not just value, because that's where most people get it wrong. How do we create, I'll grab my marker here, how do we create something called aligned value? And why is that so important? Now, I'll be honest with you, I borrowed that term from a mentor of mine, Brendan Burchard, and I'm going to develop it from several sources of experience and wisdom other than my own, and I'm just synthesizing this for you with my perspective and insight so that you can apply it. And I'm going to share with you a step-by-step process about how to do this more effectively and really create or add aligned value. See, because the reason that it fell on deaf ears, it wasn't received, it was rejected, it was pushed away, wasn't because you weren't offering something of value. It was because you weren't offering something that they valued. Imagine this metaphor for a second. Imagine that you have a friend. You've known them for a long time. You know what they like. You've heard them say, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I expect, this is what I'd really like to experience, or this is what I would like to have. And one day, you go and get them that gift for their birthday. And you show up and you're fired up and you're excited to give them this gift. But something happened before you made it to the party. See, you went out and got that gift last minute. You didn't get wrapped. You knew you had wrapping paper at the house. You were going to come and wrap that gift before the party. But when you got there, you realized that there was no birthday wrapping paper. The only thing you had left was Christmas wrapping paper. You said, you know what? A gift is a gift. A present's a present. They're going to enjoy this. I'm so excited to give it to them. You wrap it in Christmas present, and you go to their party. Well, they end up having a party, and there's gifts everywhere, and they have this session where they go through and open their presents, and they keep avoiding yours. Why? Because it's wrapped in Christmas paper, and they're thinking, what the heck is that? Right? So they keep opening everybody's presents. They're excited. You're seeing the excitement in the room. You're chomping at the bit because you want them to enjoy your present because you know they're going to love it, but they never get to it. The party starts to wrap up. They never got to that present. It's sitting there. You make your way through the crowd, pull them aside and say, hey, man, I got you a present. They go, really? Where is it? And you say, it's right over there. You're like, that's your present? And you say, yeah. You say, go open it. They're like, no, man, it's cool. I'll wait. I could, no. They're like, no, man, it's something you want. Go get it. But there's a barrier. There's a barrier there for them receiving the value because they perceive it's not aligned. And I know that's a rough metaphor for what I'm talking about here, but the same thing happens when we try to do something, give something, create something, offer something to somebody that they do not value. It's misaligned. So how do we align it? Let me bring you through this process. By the way, before I forget, again, if you would like my help training and developing your employees, especially in this area of influence and being able to create and add value for your customers, for each other, for the company, for your business, go over to influenceseminars.com. Schedule a free session. I will do a free training session virtually if you're somewhere else in the country, or live right there in your office for your employees as an intro to what I do. Because here's what I know. If you love the work, there's a possibility we could work together. That's how I get business. But at the end of the day, if you get value from it, you're going to tell everybody, and that's how I spread the message. But let me jump in here and take you step by step, not how to add or create value, but how to add and create aligned value the first time so that it's received 90+% of the time. So let's start with step number 1. Understand what they already value. Wait a minute, Dwayne. That sounds like doublespeak. What are you getting at here? Is this psychobabble? No. Understand what it is they already value. Because we've already said, it goes back to the metaphor of the present. You had it wrapped in the wrong paper. Even though it's a gift you know that they will like, if you present it, approach it, create it. Remember this, and I learned this from 2 of my mentors. People support what people help create. And what people tend to help create comes from the place of what they already value. So how do you figure this out? If this is actually the truth, how do you figure it out so you can do this for them? Spend time, number 2, in their world. Especially if you're an executive, if you're a manager, if you're a leader, if you're a CEO, it's so easy to stay in a place that we're comfortable with, that we know, our strength zone, the things that we're good at, the things I mean, as a human being, it really is, right? But the biggest challenge as a true leader is to be able to say, you know what, this is where I'm comfortable, when I'm safe, and if you notice that your people aren't coming to you, talking to you, opening up to you, coming in your space, spending time in your world, there's several reasons that could be. Number 1, they're intimidated. Number 1, they're scared. Number 2, they don't want to intrude. They're being respectful, whatever the case is. And if you want to truly understand, for example, what your employees value, if you want to understand as a regular employee what your coworkers value, what your manager values, it doesn't matter what role or position you play. You can be in sales, you can be in accounting, you can be in HR, you can be an engineer, you can be any profession you can ever imagine. This will work for you. And the whole premise of this is to add value and create value for someone so that you have greater influence with them. But we have to step outside of where we're comfortable and go hang out with those people. Here's what I mean. In a work environment, that simply means leaving your office and going spend time talking to, building relationships, connecting, getting to know the people in your company, no matter what level you sit on. Or even better, a better way to do that is to schedule something, activities, events, stuff outside of the office where you can get around those people on their turf. Find out what they're doing. Find out what they're hanging out. Offer to support it. Go out there. Offer to attend. You know, get involved in getting an invitation. I'm not saying you invite yourself to places. That's not what I'm saying. But worst case scenario, create an event. Put something on. Invite those people that you don't have a connection of bond, respect, and trust with just yet. And when you go and you spend time in their world, take whatever potential agenda you may have for getting to understand, know, and really get what they value. Set that agenda aside, whether it's a work agenda, whether it's a goal agenda, whether it's we're trying to accomplish this project, whether I want them to do. Forget that. Humble yourself. Put aside the agenda. And then go spend time in their world. And just listen. Talk to them. Talk about who they are. Ask them questions. Just listen. No agenda. Connect with them as individuals. Build relationships of trust and sincerity. Human interaction, right? Build friendships, right? Because here's how it will serve you in being able to influence, lead, and add value to the lives of those people, or create aligned value for the lives of those people. Because eventually, Once the hair comes down, once the walls go down, once the fear is gone of you being in their world, and all of a sudden they become accustomed to it and comfortable with it, they're going to start talking about the things they want, they need, they expect, they desire, the things they hate, the things that they look forward to, where they spend their time, their effort, their money, their energy, what's important to them. And if you don't have the opportunity to do this, a little creeping on social media will tell you. If you look at someone's profile, you get an idea of the things that they spend their time, money, energy, effort on. Some of them like to go hunting and fishing and ATVing and snow skiing and go to the beach, and you can learn a lot about a person. Also on their LinkedIn profile, obviously, right? So spend time in their world and find out where they spend their time, where they spend their money, where they spend their efforts, what do they like, what do they hate, what do they talk about, what do they gossip about, what do they praise? Because when you spend time in their world, you're going to understand what they already value. And here's the next step. After you spend time in the world and understand what they value, they will tell you where and what do they spend, as I said, time, money, and all the above. Which brings us to number 5. If you want to add aligned value to them, to serve them, to influence them, to just lead those people, take what you know they already value and then help them or if it's in your power, give them more of what they already value. Let me share a story with you about how this played out in my professional life with one of the greatest leaders and bosses, managers that I ever had. And before I do that, remember, if I can be of service to help you train and develop your employees in this area of creating value for your customers, for you, for the company, for their coworkers, reach out to me at influenceseminars.com. Fill out that form that's on the first page. Let's schedule a free training. No obligation, no commitment. It's the way I get the word out. It's the way I do business. And it's the way that I serve. So don't hesitate. But let me tell you the story. How did somebody get in my world, find out what I valued, and help me get, actually gave me more? Now, this was probably the hugest lesson, or the biggest lesson, sorry, my grammar, the biggest lesson in leadership I have ever experienced, not learned, experienced, and was able to carry forward. I was having my first annual review. Before I started my company, for those of you who don't know me, I started my company 10 years ago, I.N.F.L.U.E.N.C.E Seminars, all based on this premise right here, that I had a conversation with one of my mentors. And before that, I was a 14-year sales professional, the last 8 years in pharmaceutical sales. It was very good to me. But I had this boss who was absolutely amazing. And in her frustration to try to move me higher, to higher levels, I went in, first year, crushed it, she loved it. We were having our annual review. She says, hey, Dwayne, how do we get you to the next level? You did a great job this year, but we're going to a higher level. How do we get you there? And I said, I don't know. I've done everything you've asked. I've crushed it. I've given everything I've got, and I just don't know what else I can do. This is when she stepped outside of her world, humbled herself, put her agenda aside, set her computer aside, and said, hey, Dwayne, let's talk for a second. Now, realize I had a relationship of trust and respect over this year with this manager, so I really felt like I could open up and tell her anything with no worries of ramification. And she said, let's just back up here for a second and take this off the table and talk about something different. She goes, I know that in this company, one of your goals and ambitions was to be a trainer, but then you found out that you had to move to Chicago to do it, and that's not something you and your family are willing to do. And she goes, I know this is a very competitive environment, and this is not necessarily the place you want to be for years and years to come. This is not something that necessarily you want to make your career. She said, but let me ask you, what do you want? One of the most powerful questions you can ask in any situation, a negotiation situation where you're trying to get what you want, need, and expect, and you're trying to get the other person what they want, need, and expect. And this was, in some form, a negotiation. She said, Dwayne, what do you want? I said, Cheryl, if I'm being honest, I said, since I'm 15 years old, I'm dying to be a professional speaker, trainer, and coach because it just ignites my soul to do this and help people make distinctions, insights, and apply it to her life. She says, really, that's fascinating. She says, I have an idea. What would you think about this? I'm going to ramp up my efforts to bring this team to a new level, which is going to require a higher level of commitment from you and everybody else. What would you think about this? If you will track with me and do everything I ask and crank it up to the level that I want, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to open as many doors inside this company and out as I can to get you the opportunity to hone your craft, to speak, and to develop yourself. I said, really? She said, yeah. She said, there's a couple of people I can reach out to right now. Why don't we start in my district? Next time we have a district meeting, why don't you come and speak to them, and why don't you bring a camera to record it? And if it's good, I'll pass it along to the regional manager. I said, really? She said, yeah. All I need you to do is step it up, bring it to the next level. I said, deal. We did that, got recording of it. She loved it. She sent it to the district, to the regional manager. And she's like, hey, at the next regional, can this guy speak? And he goes, I don't know. He checked out the video. He's like, yeah, man, come on. For I know it, I'm speaking to the entire region in a national conference. And it was my first keynote. And I was nervous as all get out. On my YouTube channel, there's actually that footage. It actually's gotten a lot of views. It was terrible. No, it was actually pretty good. Anyway, so she did that, and before I know it, she's opening more doors. Before I know it, I'm speaking across the country and Canada in over 200 organizations. I'd left the company at this point, but she gave me and allowed me more of what I needed, wanted, expected. Value. She created value for me, aligned value, not just value. And I received it hook, line, and sinker. What is the power of that? If you can understand, if you can say, you know what? This person's agenda doesn't necessarily align with my agenda, but if I will humble myself, put my agenda aside, and help them get the goals and objectives that they want, I realize that I'm going to activate the law of reciprocity, the law of the harvest, and the law of circulation. So if it doesn't come back from this person, it's coming back from somewhere and it's going to pay off dividends. Hey, an old happy day, if you're an owner of a company or a manager and you give something to your employees that helps them get what they want, they end up finding their way out of the company, but maybe they weren't a good fit in the first place, then that's a win-win for both parties. Now, I'm not advocating that this is what that does. What I'm advocating is that if you can align the value that you're giving, that you're offering, that you're creating for your employees, your coworkers, your boss, your staff, your executives, and you're enough of a servant leader to say, it's not about me. It's about keeping these people happy, because if I keep these people happy, they keep my customers happy. It's not about me. If I keep my coworkers happy, it makes my work environment better. It's not about me as an executive. If I empower my middle managers and they empower their people, and we're here to support that and create aligned value, the company runs better. As a result of it, we're creating aligned value. It's give, 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 give. Win-win outcomes. Let me bring you to the next step. I see somebody coming on here. Hey, if you're joining us, hey, Jason, good to see you, man. If you're enjoying this, give it a thumbs up, like the page to see when I go live. And answer or ask any questions. If you have any insight or perspective on this as if you're watching this on LinkedIn, you're just like it, but shit, what? I went live on YouTube and Facebook before I posted this to LinkedIn, so a little context there for you. But if you're enjoying this, share it with your network, leave a comment, or drop your wisdom below. I want to hear from you. How do you create and add not value? That's cliche. How do you add aligned value to the people in your lives, right? So it brings me to the next step right here, that you will ultimately, what I'm all about and my business is all about, is helping you increase your influence with people so you can increase two things. Number one, your impact. And number two, your opportunities. Because all opportunities come through people. And if we can increase our influence with them through creating and adding aligned value, then everybody wins at a higher level. Now, let me share with you where this whole concept and insight came from over time from my experience and the manager I just told you. But when it all came together like a flash of light was from three sources. I told you that my mentor, Brendan Burchard, coined the aligned value thing, so I give him credit for that. But it all came together when I had a conversation with Jay-Z. No, not the rapper. That's not what I'm talking about. Here's what I mean. I had a conversation with John, and what Zig Ziglar said made perfect sense. So I was having a conversation with John Maxwell. I'm one of my certifications. I'm a certified speaker training coach, John Maxwell team. And all of us newbies, when we went to certify, got 5 minutes with the man himself. If you're not familiar with John Maxwell, the leading authority on leadership and personal development in the entire world, 6 years in a row, according to Inc. magazine is one of them, several other magazines. He's an absolute guru, written over 86 books on leadership, has traveled the world. John Maxwell. Check him out if you haven't figured it out. But I got to sit down with him. One of my favorite things he says is leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And I don't know if you've ever been in front of a mentor or a guru or somebody that you really respect and you get the opportunity to talk to him, if you would freeze up or if you knew exactly what you would say. I knew exactly what I was going to ask him. And he said, hey, what do you have? What do you want to know? I said, I love that saying. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. But I need some context here. What is influence in that? In your intention there? He said, Dwayne, it's when you add value to the lives of people, but you can't do it until you understand what they value. Go hang out in their world. Don't be a lazy connector. And go spend time there. Find out what they want, what they need, what they expect, where they spend their time, their effort, and their money. And then all of a sudden, what Zig Ziglar was infamous for saying, is this: if you can just help enough other people get what they want, you'll inevitably get what you want. And I've heard that since I was fresh out of college, and I did not fully grasp it until that conversation with John Maxwell. This is the whole premise of why I named my company Influence Seminars, because I'm committed to helping people increase their influence through adding value, which I believe is the best way to do it. So again, to recap, before I do though, run over to influenceseminars.com. Book a free training session with me for your employees. We can talk about this. We can talk about leadership, communication, sales training, whatever it is. I'll do it free of charge. That's how I get the word out. That's how I get business. And if you and I never do business together, you'll spread the word and let other people know about me. But let me recap here for a second. If you're going to create value, that's cliche. It's not done well. It's a buzzword. But when you create aligned value, now you've really done something. Watch this. Number one, understand what they already value. In order to do that, get in their world. Leave your comfort zone. Go to their comfort zone. Spend time. Listen. Ask questions like my boss did. Set your agenda aside and be open to the possibilities. Where do they spend their time, effort, energy, money? What do they gripe about? What do they complain about? What do they want? And then, is it in your power to help them get more of that like my manager did? Or give them more of that? Because when you do, you increase your influence with those people. You can change the game for your business, for your work experience, for their lives, and you can open the door to possibilities and opportunity that before you did that may not be available. So I hope this served and enjoyed. If it did, please share this with your network if you're on LinkedIn, or comment on it. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your ideas. How do you create aligned value? Did this serve? Did this help? If it did, and you're on social media on Facebook, like the page so you'll see when I go live. Share this with somebody that can help, and stay tuned, because I want to hear about some of the things that would help and serve you in the area of professional development. So feel free to reach out, drop it in the comments, and thanks for joining me here today on how to create aligned value. Go apply these things. Rewatch this and take notes if it serves you, and share it with somebody who could benefit and value. Have a great Tuesday, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.